There's a specific kind of silence that happens in the middle of a crowded room. You're standing there, perhaps with a drink in your hand or sitting at a table surrounded by friends. Someone makes a joke and everyone laughs. You laugh too. It's a practiced reflex. Your facial muscles move, your voice hits the right pitch. The social script is followed perfectly. But inside, there's a strange, hollow coldness. You look around at the faces near you, people you love, people you've known for years, and suddenly it hits you with the weight of an anchor. I am completely alone. You aren't physically isolated. You are surrounded by noise, by warmth, by human proximity, and yet the distance between you and everyone else feels like it's spanning miles. It's not that people aren't there, it's that for some reason, you aren't really there either. Welcome to Mind Echo, exploring the psychology behind how we think, feel, and behave. Subscribe for deeper insights into the human mind. Let's begin. This experience, being lonely in the presence of others, is perhaps the most confusing and painful form of isolation. It feels like a betrayal of reality. We're taught that loneliness is a math problem. A lack of people equals loneliness. But the human mind is far more complex than simple arithmetic. If it were just about presence, we could cure loneliness simply by standing in a busy train station. But we know that doesn't work. Think about the last time you felt this. Maybe it was at a family dinner, or on a date where the conversation was flowing, or even in bed right next to your partner. You felt like you were watching your own life from behind a sheet of thick glass. You were participating, sure. You were answering questions, nodding at the right times, maybe even sharing stories. But underneath the conversation, there was a secondary, silent monologue running in your head. Does anyone actually see me right now? Or are they just seeing the version of me I've decided is safe enough to show? This is the performance trap. When we feel lonely around others, it's rarely because they are ignoring us. It's usually because we're actively participating in a masquerade. We are so terrified that if we showed our true selves, the messy, uncertain, anxious, or bored parts, we would be rejected, that we present a curated, polished, and palatable version of ourselves instead. When you offer the world a character instead of a person, you inevitably feel lonely, because that character might be liked, they might be admired, they might even be loved, but the real you is still sitting in the back of the room, waiting for an invitation to come out. And the tragedy is, nobody can invite you out because they don't even know you're hiding. You are starved for connection, yet you are the one holding the door shut. So why do we do it? Why do we build these walls that block the very connection we crave? It usually stems from a subconscious survival strategy we developed a long time ago. At some point in your past, perhaps in childhood or during a formative relationship, you learned that your raw, unfiltered self was too much or not enough. Maybe you learned that expressing sadness made people uncomfortable, or that having different opinions caused conflict, or that being vulnerable felt like an invitation for someone to hurt you. So you learned to edit. You learned to read the room and adjust your frequency to match the crowd. You became a chameleon. But here is the psychological irony. The very mechanism you built to protect yourself from rejection is what is now creating the rejection you fear most. When you constantly adjust yourself to fit the needs and expectations of those around you, you create a false intimacy. You are connected to them, but you are not known by them. There's a concept in psychology about emotional camouflage. It's the act of suppressing your true needs, desires, and quirks to maintain social harmony. It feels safe in the short term. It prevents conflict. It makes you the easy friend, the chill partner, the agreeable colleague. But over time, the mind begins to register that it is living a lie.
Your brain is highly intelligent. It knows the difference between being loved for who you are and being loved for the role you are playing. And because your mind knows it's a performance, you feel fundamentally unseen. Even when you are being complimented, it feels empty because you know they're praising the mask, not the wearer. This is the root of the loneliness. It's not that you lack people, it's that you lack the courage to be fully present as yourself. You are trying to fill an internal void with external approval, and that is a bucket with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much affection you receive, it will never be enough to fix the loneliness because the affection isn't reaching the part of you that's actually lonely. So, how do we dismantle the glass wall? It doesn't start with changing the people around you. It starts by changing the deal you have with yourself. You have to realize that true connection is impossible without the risk of being misunderstood. If you want to be known, you have to be willing to be seen, not just the polished, successful, or together parts of you, but the parts that are still figuring things out. The shift happens when you stop performing. Next time you're in that room, instead of asking, "What should I say to be liked?" try asking, "What is actually true for me right now?" If you're tired, say you're tired. If you don't agree with the conversation, allow yourself to stay quiet rather than forcing a laugh. It will feel terrifying at first. There will be a spike of anxiety, a whisper in your brain telling you that you are about to lose everyone. But what actually happens is usually the opposite. When you drop the mask, you create an opening for others to drop theirs. Vulnerability is a mirror. When you show a little of your truth, you give the people around you the permission to show a little of theirs. That is where real connection happens, in the shared space of imperfect human beings. Being lonely around others is actually a sign of your own growth. It means your current way of relating to the world is no longer satisfying you. It means you have outgrown the masks you used to wear. It is an invitation to stop hiding and to start participating in your own life. You are not meant to be a silent observer of your own existence. You are meant to be the person who shows up, fully, flaws and all, and trusts that those who belong in your life will recognize you, not the performance, but the person. Loneliness is not a defect in your character, it is a messenger. It is the part of you that refuses to be ignored, reminding you that there is a deep, authentic self waiting for the light. We spend so much energy trying to be enough for others that we forget that being enough doesn't mean being perfect, it means being real. When you finally allow yourself to be seen, truly seen, the room might not become any less crowded, but the distance between you and everyone else will finally vanish. If you stopped performing the role that everyone expects of you today, who would still be standing beside you tomorrow?